the meeting and the conclusions. Over to you, SG.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen of the media. We have had our meeting with the Provincial Executive Committee of KZN. As you will all recall, but just to remind you if you forgot, when we visited KZN, we made a commitment that we will come back and meet with the Provincial Executive Committee and share perspectives about an analysis of what actually transpired in our visits to the regions and meeting with structures. And we will answer the question collectively as to what needs to be done. So that has been done in terms of this meeting. The province have presented their report based on their own analysis in the province, and then we have presented the overall analysis of what have happened in KZN. We have also briefed them that we will now take the matter to the NWC next week before the NEC, where a decision will be taken in terms of what needs to be done by the National Working Committee and report to the NEC. And then the NEC will then take a decision about what must happen in KZN. That will also apply for our later meeting with Gauteng. We're supposed to meet with Gauteng as well today, but because they have a 3-line whip, we did not meet with them. So we'll meet with them towards the end of the week, and then we'll make a determination as well following this route. By next week, the National Working Committee will finalize its discussion. Now, as to what will happen in terms of what needs to be done, there are various options. But overall, theme is reorganization, reinforcement, rebuilding of the ANC in KwaZulu-Natal, having done a diagnostic analysis about what obtains. And we will deliberate on that at the time of the National Executive Committee. So there are various options that will be considered in terms of this overall theme. It could be augmentation of the PEC. It could be disbandment and reorganize the entire structure in the province. That will be determined by the NWC and recommend to the NEC. So that's what we have done. So we have done our work. The entire PEC was here except for 2 people in the meeting which started this morning, and all of that we just finished now. So it was quite fruitful that everybody and all our regions were actually present here.
Thank you very much, SG. I am going to take hands. I've got Newsroom and I've got SABC.
UFM.
SG Junior Kumalo from Newsroom Africa. The NWC went to KZN in August, SG, and now we are here again in a situation where you are still getting a report from KZN. Did you not get a report in KZN when the NWC went to KZN? Why is it taking so long, basically, to get to a point where the ANC decides what is going to happen? Because it just feels like the ANC is dragging its feet when it comes to this situation. And when it comes to Gauteng, I think you said you might be meeting with them later this week. Is that meeting also going to happen here? And will the decision also be taken in a week's time when the NEC finally convenes and hears what the NWC has to say?
You see, what we were going to do here today, it was in the figmentation of the imagination of other people that we were going to take a decision today to disband, augment, or do anything to the structure. That's not the case. It is the imagination of people. When we left KZN, we said, and Gauteng will come back, share perspectives. You don't just take a decision, you share perspective and a way as to what sort of intervention you would like to make. And that will be debated. We are done now with KZN. We'll go to Gauteng. And that's what we were going to do here today, and we have done that. And they've given us their report. They've made comments about their report presented to us, of which last time when we were in KZN, we received the reports from the regions. Based on those reports, you make an analysis as to how big is the problem. Remember, you don't only rely on reports that you got from the branches. We also use our own information gathering organizational capacity to know exactly what is happening in KZN. And I can tell you now, we know what is the problem in KZN, and we make a decision about how are we going to help our province of KZN to respond to the sort of challenges that have brought us to 17% in the province. That decision will be taken and it will be announced after the meeting of the National Executive Committee. Also, just to bring you up to speed, for any decision to be taken with regard to what needs to be done in the provinces, it must go through the National Executive Committee of the ANC, which is the final arbiter on this particular matter. We went to KZN, we visited Gauteng, because we have lost ground in a big way. And then we have done the work of the NWC, and we need to report now to the NEC about what needs to be done in KZN as well as in Gauteng. So that's what we are going to do. This meeting was not called to disband or to announce a decision of intervention, was to finalize our work. Of course, we went in August, and then since then we've been doing work in KZN. President went there, as well met with the PC, and we've been doing this work in terms of organizational analysis about what's happening and what we think must actually happen in these provinces. So we've been working around that for quite some time, and the NWC processed that analysis and then took it to KZN. And they have not disputed our analysis in terms of the diagnosis we have actually made. What they don't know is what is the prognosis. And the biggest worry and the buzzword is disbandment and so on. Disbandment can be taken, if it has to be taken, to intervene in response to that situation there. And then it's part of the options that we'll look at when we meet next week before the NEC meeting. And one option we agree to, we'll table it to the NEC, and then we implement. We have explained to them that today that the center is national, and that whatever decision the NEC will take with regard to these provinces, but for now KZN, will be addressed to the structures. We will address the structures of the organization on the ground in terms of that decision.
SABC, Samkelo Maseko from the SABC. Mr. Mbalula, from this particular meeting, just to give a snippet to the viewers and to those who consume news, what was a temporary diagnosis of what the peer provincial secretary presented to the meeting? Are you happy with the presentation, or do you also view this particular presentation, because you are told he presented the very same report he presented to the president when he visited the PEC, which the president ultimately said must be taken away from all PEC members and never to be discussed even without because it was somewhat of an embarrassment? Do you feel as if there is something to salvage from this PEC, or they are essentially a structure that must be done away with?
Look, I will be putting the cart before the horse. President did not dismiss that report. It was not even an embarrassing report. When you prepare a report for analysis, it is subjected to a process of discussion. And all what the president said was that if that report were to leak, it will be misinterpreted to something else. Not that it was not discussed in that meeting. It was discussed, because it was a very detailed report. Our diagnosis about KZN is very thorough, and I'm not going to deal with it in snippets. After the NEC meeting, we will give it to you in detailed form as to what is our analysis in terms of the province and what needs to be done. So there will be no holy cows. Decisions will be taken to strengthen ourselves in that particular province. Surely people in the opposition side of politics in KZN, they are riding Ferraris, and we can't respond to a Ferrari with a conquest. We need to get into an aeroplane and fly. We have lost significantly in KZN. What we have emphasized here is that no blame game. We are all in this together. And the NEC will not be hamstrung by not taking decisions on a situation that is dire, that requires intervention and decisive intervention. So that's what we're going to happen. So our members and general populace in general, looking up to the ANC, we are working to fix the ANC in KwaZulu-Natal and also in Gauteng, to work with our structures and everybody to bring back, recover the lost ground. And we need to do that with structures of the movement and the political leadership of the province. And the question you ask as to whether this leadership will be able to assist us to cross, it's a matter that the National Executive Committee and in fact the NWC have made an examination and will make a determination about that going forward.
Yes, I've just noted a number of hands. Can I come back to you later? Some can take other hands, UFM?
Yeah, Hawala Magola from UFM. Mr. Mbalula, you know, the ANC lost 62% nationally. So at which platform is the national leadership being held responsible for its role? We appreciate what is happening with the two provinces, but how is national leadership accounting for this loss? And has the element of MK emerged in there as part of the reasons? Because you yourself had attributed this devastating defeat to the
ANC have made an analysis about the moment and what happened in the elections. And after we did so, we briefed the media. So we can't repeat ourselves. And then we said we take responsibility. And that responsibility also means we've got the responsibility to find solutions in relation to how we recoup the lost ground and how we work with our provinces. It includes a whole range of decisions. You have asked the question right at the beginning. Do we think that the NEC must actually disband? It can't disband. It must lead to the next conference. And let me explain to you. If anyone wanted to disband the NEC, there are constitutional procedures. If they want to do so, sign a petition or do whatever that you can, and then the NEC will deal with that. We're going to a general council. Others want to define it as a battleground for the soul of the NEC. We are not concerned about that. We want the ANC to be healthy, fit, and proper to fight an election. Of local government election. So that includes reorganizing ourselves in these provinces. And the situation in these provinces is dire from an organizational point of view. And we have said that we need to build. We know that there are silly things that have been raised, like it's not only the two provinces that have lost, we have dropped in all the other provinces. That's a silly debate because we did not just drop, we lost in the two provinces. A responsible leadership does not fold. We did not go in this election not knowing that we've got challenges in KZN. And in Gauteng we did. We had a battle plan. We followed that particular battle plan. It had limitations, both from a subjective and objective point of view. We have analyzed that. And we have made some conclusion in terms of shaping our perspective. Now, in terms of that perspective, nobody disputes our analysis as leadership. So that analysis must be accompanied by what needs to be done. And what needs to be done is a whole range of other issues. You disband a structure, for instance, in order to strengthen it with capable people. if ever you come to a conclusion that there are weaknesses in terms of leadership and all of that. But at the same time, you need to reorganize. MK Party, from a subjective an objective point of view, in terms of Jacob Zuma and all of that, we have related to that matter. We have related to that matter that it did make a dent, but that is not the only factor in terms of our analysis. And we are not about MK, we are about building the ANC and ensuring that the ANC has got the purest cadres who love it, who can go on the ground, defend it, and reclaim the lost ground.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mbalula. Alpha here from Eyewitness News. You mentioned something quite interesting, that we shouldn't play the blame game with the provinces, but we've seen remarks from Begin Tolo saying that the president and yourself as the SG should also account for the electoral decline in KwaZulu-Natal. What do you make of his remarks?
We make nothing of those remarks. They mean nothing because we are 17%. And we have told them here today. And we have said to them that everybody must keep quiet and we will communicate decisions of the organization. Whatever that anyone says does not add to the solutions and what needs to be done. So we are engaging with our structures direct, and then those remarks by Mtolo, whatever they mean and all of that, they mean nothing. We are here now where we are, and we are moving forward. And we are going to reclaim KZN, and we are going to take hard decisions that are going to rebuild the ANC in that province. We are going to fix and build KwaZulu-Natal and Gauteng, and that's what we are going to do. And we are going to do it with the ferocity of a cornered bull, and ensuring that we come out of this situation with determination as a party and the organization. We run the ANC. The responsibilities on our leadership. We will live and die with our decisions up until the next conference. And the leadership must reflect. When we went to KZN and we went to Gauteng, there was a reason for that. When we visited them before all other provinces, there is a reason for that. Now that we have gone there, we have picked up, we have a diagnosis informed by exactly what happened, and also by our own independent analysis of what is happening in these provinces. We are now at a better position to take decisions and build the ANC going forward, and that's what we're going to do.
Lunga?
Thank you so much, SG. My name is Lunga Mzango. I'm from the Mail and Guardian. SG, just maybe, I don't know if I'll be pushing it, but during the elections, I think it was the second last week, the entire NEC went to KZN to try and gain ground. Don't you think it would be a bit unfair? Because you also yourselves, you went to KZN to try and move people to vote for the party, but that did not happen. Holding them accountable, and some believe that this would be unfair because all of you failed as a collective, so why disband? And also the last one, the SACP is coming out now to say yesterday, basically, they are saying that elections alone, they are not going to go with you. Isn't this part of the fragmentation of the ANC going forward? The SACP has been with you throughout. Not some of the issues that you should be looking at to say if our alliance partner are also saying, look, we'll just go on ourselves to try and gain support on ourselves. Don't you think that's a bit problematic, SG? Thank you.
We held a bilateral with the South African Communist Party. They did raise the issue of going it alone. We have agreed to continuously engaging on this matter, including the modalities of that particular decision. A decision to contest election is a decision of the Communist Party. They've got to examine it themselves and make a determination. In as far as how it will affect the alliance is a matter that we agreed next year we'll talk about it. But they informed us that they've taken a decision and they're taking it to their Congress, and we leave it there. And then the ANC will discuss with them the implications of that decision in terms of its implementation, because it has got serious implications for the alliance, that kind of decision. So we've agreed with the party, and we want to respect that. and we want to respect the party as an independent organ, but we did caution against that in terms of the ANC. We have cautioned against that. The party raised its own issues around it, and then we will engage going forward. The decisions of the organization in relation to what will be the outcome of the NEC, and as well as the NWC recommendation to the NEC, that's a matter we can discuss and debate with you after that. But the ANC can take any decision as long as, in terms of even the risks involved, are properly analyzed. And if you take a decision, it is because sometimes you don't have a choice, because you are completely depleted on the ground. And you need to take a decision to reorganize yourself. You know, when COPE was formed, we went to EPI, if you know EPI. All our structures there were not even sleepers, they had crossed to COPE. The regional executive, all branches, and that's it. They had crossed to the other side. We had to reorganize ourselves, appoint new structures, and that's it. And then we recovered, and we won EPI, Nelson Mandela Bay. When Jacob Zuma was president, we won 2009, which was very strong there. So when I talk about subjective and objective factors, is that subjective factors is that your structures are greatly affected by the developments of the formation of this party. And you've got to respond to that by augmentation, disbandment, with a view of getting the right people to lead the ANC in some of these particular provinces. And it's not the only option you can arrive at, but the status quo can continue like it's business as usual. You've got to respond to that particular situation. And who must respond to that? It's the National Executive Committee. It is not going to be anyone else. The center is the National Executive Committee that must respond to that. And it is falling on this leadership that we are leading today that must respond to that particular situation. Even other political parties, they take decisions about themselves and what must happen in their own parties on daily basis. And that's what happens. In their own political parties, they suspend, they dismiss people, they do all sorts of things. They appoint friends, they appoint well-known people who are compromised in their political parties. Those are their decisions. So the ANC, when it exercises its democratic centralism in terms of directing its structures, it is within its prescripts of its own constitution that things must be directed that particular way. And we have done a thorough job in terms of analyzing these provinces and all of that. And we are now at a better position to give them feedback, which we have done with KZN. And then we're now going to do it with Gauteng. And then we move and we take decisions. And that's what is going to happen.
Thank you, SG. My name is Mbalula from the Sunday Times. Is there a solid plan to hound out the MK sleepers that are in KZN?
Yeah, that process is multifaceted. Sleepers, you deal with them in different ways. By strengthening the organization and make it a point that the organization is led by loyal people to its organization. But you don't go around like a sniffer dog looking at everybody, whether he's MK or not MK, because you're pushing even people who are not MK to MK. So you take your own decisions. People who are loyal to the ANC will remain. Those who are sleepers and want to be on the other side, they will go. They will go. Just like you see some of them every day crossing, going to that party. Others have long left. They were in our branches and then they've been working. Even if you do an analysis, we work on the ground, and when we arrive there, we will ask, how strong is MK party here? People will tell you, no, it's non-existent. They don't do door-to-door. On the 29th of May, for people who did not campaign so hard, where did they get the mobility to win even to a point of decimating the ANC with that lackluster approach and no machinery except convoys going around? Where did these people come from? And if you look at these people, some of them have been here in the ANC, and they have been effectively mobilizing the masses of our people to the other side. So you deal with the party by way of ensuring that the organization cleanses itself, and you don't wait, you strike, and that's what we're doing. And you don't strike by chance, you know. You strike hard and decide. And some of the decisions, people at the end may not agree with them, or they may agree with them and all of that, but you take a decision and you support it on the ground. Unfortunately, we have reached that stage of our work in terms of the two provinces, and we've got to move forward and rebuild the ANC effectively.
I'm rounding up the table.
Okay, thanks.
And then SABC 1, SABC 2, and we close.
Thanks so much. My name is Ndebum Mkova. I'm with the SABC. Secretary General helped me to tell the story. I sense a bit of irritation on the expectation for lenience on the PEC of KZN. You emerged out of this meeting. What's the buzzword from this meeting? Is it disbandment or enhancement?
There is no buzzword. There is an approach to the next meeting that says all options on the table will be put for the NWC, and a proposal will go to the NEC. There is no irritation. We are very happy, actually. If you can open my inside, my heart, it because today we have met our comrades and we have explained to each other what is our understanding of what obtains in KZN. Nobody in this meeting spoke against our perspective, because that perspective was not drafted in the air-conditioned office in Johannesburg. Is informed by the material conditions on the ground. We have been there, we have been on the ground, we have been in KZN, we listen to as many as possible members of the ANC, but equally our own work on the ground informs us what needs to happen. For instance, my brother, some of the regions in KZN have collapsed, and the ANC have got no chance to come back. They've collapsed. ANC lost the biggest metro at eThekwini. Have lost the biggest, Moses Mapita. You can mention all of them. You can't tell me that a leadership that is right thinking can just go to bed, sleep nicely with the belief that everything is intact. Because somebody have written you a report in your sleep and fax it to you or send it to you by email, and you believe that everything is well. It's not well. From an organizational point of view, nothing is well in KZN, nothing is well in Gauteng. Over and above the objective factor. The objective factor is that the situation of our economy in terms of the election affected all of us countrywide. But from an organizational point of view, did we pull through? Do we have leadership? Is the center holding? You've got to be a leadership that is decisive, where you see that, yeah, we stand no chance. Even if we recoup and all of that, we stand no chance. I have told you, I've made an example about mobility. We are fighting a Ferrari there with a Conquest. You know, so we need to match a Ferrari with a flying machine. You know, Gulfstream, that move faster in seconds, you know, to surpass what is happening there. We dropped to 17%, my brother. And anyone else cannot tell us we must not do anything about that. We are doing something about it. Those who thought that they got the ANC to be weaker, we will rebuild it and we will come back. We are not going to surrender the ANC to anyone, Jacob Zuma or anyone. We're not going to surrender it. We will defend with ANC members on the ground the recovery of the African National Congress. That's what we're going to do. We are massive. All what we need is to get activists, our veterans, and everybody else to the front in the recovery plan of the ANC. All others who are supposed to go where they have to go, they will go. The press will exorcise them. And that is it. So we need that, and I'm happy, we are all happy that the process has begun. Other people can open things to their interpretation. Nobody wants to be disbanded. Nobody wants to be disbanded. They want to finish their term of office and all of that. Disbandment has happened in the past.